Ding ding! Welcome back to another episode of Bell to Bell. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jose Garza, and along with me tonight is our boy Milton Wynn. How's it going, brother?
Very, very good. Blessed, brother. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. I'm looking forward to tonight's talk because obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to discuss UFC 311. And that's going to be a big time fight. We're watching Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan 2. It's
Great
gonna be
job.
nice. Yeah.
Great
Yeah,
job.
you gotta give that little taste.
Mm,
You gotta say
mm.
just right, you know what
You
I
got
mean?
you got to act like you're from the mountains. It's there. It's
That's
right there.
right. I'm
It's
not
right
from the
there.
mountains of Mexico. I'm from the streets of Texas.
There we go. There we go. You got Merab. You got Umar. It is a stacked main card for just casuals to watch over.
And to start up the year, Milton, the
Well,
UFC, as much as we might grieve on Dana White and their lawyer Hunter
mhm.
and all this other stuff, sometimes they know when to give us the right full card
Amen.
for the most part. And I mean, I don't know about you. I feel like a great 9 out of 10 going into this card. This main card feels beautiful. Obviously, they have their beautiful snippets and their prelims, but the main card is just almost like a chef's kiss, and it's just I don't know, man. It just reminds you of why you love to be an MMA fan.
1000% agreed. So if you would rate it, you say 9 out of 10.
Right.
Okay, like just on paper. And on paper, I would agree if I'm being unbiased. My biased hat, me being a fan of the people that's on the card, it's a 10 out of 10. Can't get,
Okay.
only way it can get better is if Habib gets out of retirement and fights. Only way. The only way that this could get better for me. I
Okay.
am ecstatic, dude. I'm ecstatic.
Freaking Islam wins, turns around. But your next opponent is Khabib. Your
That,
coach. Traitor.
that would be great. Yeah, that would be great. I know who I put my money on. So, yeah, it'd be great.
I
That would be great.
mean, we'll definitely make a real debate, a real discussion later on. But
Right.
Milton, I guess I'll let you
Yeah.
go ahead and feel it out. Where do you want to start tonight's preview show? Obviously, we want to go real in depth with the whole title fights. We have two of
Of
them,
course. Of
but
course.
where do you want to start this off tonight?
I'll say just to give love and respect to the people that don't pay for the pay per view and the fighters that did not make the pay per view, I will give a shout out to these two specific fighters that are on the preliminary card that I would love for anybody that's watching to watch these specific fights based on just these two young talent performers. The first one would be Peyton Talbot going against Rayoni Barcelos. Peyton Talbot is a undefeated mixed martial art fighter in the bantamweight division, up and comer, very young talent. He's one of these new breed MMA UFC fighters that's great all around, and he's going up against a very skillful, very top heavy wrestler in Barcelos. Barcelos, but he is 37. So, the UFC knows what they're doing. And I just want to give a quick shout out because that's a free fight. Anybody could watch. And I suggest that everybody go see the young and talented Peyton Talbot.
Hey, nice shout out to them. But let's kick things off. Let's start it from the bottom up. All right,
Sure.
let's save the taste buds for later.
Amen.
Let's let the people
Yes.
really want to wait
Save
and see what we're talking about. So this first fight to start off the main card is our very own Kevin Holland, and he is fighting former one champion
Yes.
RDR Rainer de Ritter.
Yes, sir.
So
Double
obviously
champ. Double.
double
Well,
champ.
hmm
I mean, yes, double champion and one. Um, Obviously, if you know anything of RDR, you know in the UFC he's had a real slow start. He's got a nice win,
hmm
but it's not to the level that where you see him at his best in one championship.
Agree.
So, Milton, I wanted to first ask you: do you think RDR uses this fight to finally allow himself to come out to be 100% and not just have those maybe UFC debut nerves he had the first time around?
Well, I hope so. I hope so because across from him is a guy in Kevin Holland that, oh, if you see his frame, you think he's, one of these athletic, whatever, but he hits like a truck. So it's not, he had the beauty and the blessing and the grace of going up against a Gerald Meerschaert in his debut, a guy that on the feet is not really a threat, right? Kevin Holland is on the opposite of that. But to answer your question, I truly hope so, because they're not giving him really any favors. You would think so, just because Kevin Holland is back up in middleweight, where he struggled with grapplers, which Rene de Ridder is. But if he thinks he's going to do that loosey goosey stand up that he was doing against Gerald Meerschaert, he's got another thing coming. So I really hope so. I truly hope so.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like the UFC is trying to set up RDR at the right time. It's like, hey, look, Kevin Holland's an established name. He's a yapper, but the fans know him. This is a great opportunity for you to like shake the cobwebs and really get into your own, because like you said, and even in welterweight, we've seen it, like Kevin Holland struggles with grapplers.
Yep.
So like if you give him that slight chance, like who was it? It was an older fighter and turned around from the back.
Jacare Souza.
Jacare Souza, and freaking just finished him. You're in trouble there. He'll keep on fighting. Kevin Holland, whatever he does, as embarrassing as losses he could have, and we've seen a few, he's not going to stop fighting. He's going to keep going as long as there's breath in his lungs, as long as the bell has not rang. Mm-hmm. So RDR has all the capabilities here to get this fight done, get the W.
Yes.
So
let me ask you.
Go for it.
The path of victory for RDR is, we both already know. It's going to be in the grappling exchange, either wearing out Kevin Holland to a decision or catching Kevin Holland in a submission, which will be more difficult than what people will think, because Kevin Holland is an established black belt. He's not just like no offense, a Dustin Poirier black belt. He is a established underneath a high-ranked black belt. So it's going to be hard to submit Kevin Holland, but Rene de Ridder has one path to victory. When Kevin Holland, all around as a MMA fighter, he is, in my opinion, better than Rene de Ridder. Overall, as an MMA fighter, it's just, yes, he will keep fighting, to your point, but we don't know what kind of Kevin Holland's going to be in there. The one that's just yapping, not really caring. Oh, I got taken down again. Come on.
We might get to Kevin Holland that got quickly finished by Hamzat. I'm not saying that's what RDR is. I'm just saying those are the capabilities that could happen if you're caught, just loose or not fully there. And the truth is, Milton, Kevin Holland's on a bad streak right now. He's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. Mm-hmm. It's not the greatest look at all. So right now, I gotta be honest with you. Even if he might not be, I think, betting on favorites. Let me look up right now on the ESPN app.
He's a slight underdog.
Slight underdog. It's not much. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. Give me RDR for this one, because it's just, one is trying to shake off the Cowboys. Obviously, if he doesn't, he's gonna get lights out. Mm-hmm. But I know this training staff. I know this coaching staff is gonna be on RDR, and RDR is, like you said, he is a true jiu-jitsu guy. He's a true guy that keeps it on the ground and everything. And Holland is an overall better MMA fighter. Mm-hmm. But sometimes when you meet a guy with a specialty and you don't know how to combat that, because Kevin Holland, ladies and gentlemen, is a black belt under Travis Lutter. Yes. That doesn't mean anything, because that black belt is not the same level as the black belt that RDR has. There's levels to this game. So give me RDR. Give me I hate to say it, Milton, give me a second round submission.
Ooh, well, I mean, that's not way off. RDR is a guy with arm triangles, rear naked chokes. He, like you said, and I agree, the black belt is different. There's different levels to black belt. Also, he's a black belt in judoka, the discipline of judoka. So, no, he's not a great wrestler, but anybody that understands judo, for anybody else, judo, once he gets a hold of Holland, again, Holland, I thought, should have stayed at welterweight, because he's big for the division. He's long for the division. I think he could have made some noise in the welterweight division. Going up in middleweight, you're fighting a guy in RDR. Yes, RDR is not, again, the greatest wrestler, but he is a great offensive grappler, doesn't mind being a defensive grappler, and his only 2 losses were a guy in Anatoly Malikin that was a heavyweight champion. So I I second what you're saying. And if RDR comes in here, thinks he's going to do that funky, weird style on the feet and try to play a little bit with Kevin Holland, it's going to be night first round. So we're all going to be wrong on our prediction, but I concur with you, and I also think RDR wins this fight, second round, rear naked choke.
What was it, Milton? It was the MVP fight, right? That was the last welterweight fight Kevin Holland had.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm thinking that he just probably felt a little embarrassed. That was a fight he could have won, in my opinion, and he just went back up to middleweight. And honestly, I get that maybe there's more available fights or whatever it is, but you're right. A path to a title, if any available one at all.
Welterweight. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, welterweight would have been easier. We've seen him struggle at 185, but let's get going and move on to the next fight, Milton.
Let's go.
Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano is going to be one of those, how dare I say it? Maybe a polarizing fight. And I mean that by this is where maybe roles switch, because we know that Beneil Dariush was at the tip. He could almost taste the title shot.
8-fight win streak.
Mm-hmm. He was right there, and then Mr. Oliveira, the Bronx, he said, not so fast. And and now, Beneil Dariush, he doesn't tend to fight as much as we need him to if he wants to get to a title shot. And hey, Moicano, sometimes he's crazy, sometimes he's loco, he's having fun in the cage, but this might be one of those times, Milton, where we just see that flip the switch and they change positions real quickly. I mean, I don't know. Talk to me about this fight, brother.
Yeah, so like you said, Dariush was on a roll. Everybody was in consensus with Dariush should be next for the title. He should be next for the title. He was supposed to fight Islam before he was the champion, and that fight fell out. And so, a lot of things just didn't happen in his favor. And then so, again, like you said, he fights Du Bronx. Du Bronx was way too much for him. And then the grappling exchanges, as we all knew, Dariush would be fine. But on the feet, yep, that didn't work out for him. And then after that, this is where I have a different opinion on some people that say Dariush. We haven't seen Dariush in a while. We haven't, but I think for good reason. He did not take enough time after that knockout. Fights Arman Tsarukyan, gets knocked out immediately, right? The first clean shot. He gets knocked out. And Arman Tsarukyan has power, but he's not been known for that first round knockout. So him taking the year off, it could be bad. Don't get me wrong. Typically it's bad, but it could be him fighting off the cobwebs. He's going up against a guy in Renato Moicano that is momentum is on Moicano's side easily. But as far as MMA skill, power, Moicano's not the guy that's going to knock you out. He's a guy that wants to put the volume, put a pace on you, and try to, just completely utilize his mixed martial arts skills. And Beneil Dariush is the better mixed martial arts fighter, but momentum is a thing. And like you said, Money Moicano, the roles could be switched. A guy that was considered just a guy that would fight every now and again, he would have a couple of fights, never really a contender. And Money Moicano might be switching roles now, and Beneil Dariush might be on his way to be one of those guys that is like the I don't know what you call it, but when the newcomers fight them to see if they're ready, whatever that
a gatekeeper.
A gatekeeper. Thank you. So the matchup is brilliant. I think it is a underrated matchup and a lightweight division. Both of these guys have 20 wins. Dariush has 6 losses. Moicano has 5. Dariush 2 in a row. Three. Last 5 is 3-2. Money Moicano's 4-1, and that one loss was that short notice fight against RDA. Wasn't fair to Moicano, in my opinion, but I mean, I get why Moicano's the slight favorite, but I got to tell you, and of course I'll give this to you, I think Beneil Dariush gets this done. As the underdog, I think it's a good bet for an underdog bet. You tell me your thoughts.
I'll agree with you, Milton. It's a good bet, and the reason why is because here's one of the things that really hurts Moicano. He can't beat a top 10 guy, or at least he hasn't shown the capabilities to do it yet. Right? He's fought top guys before, and he's lost to all of them. Not good losses. It's kind of been like, like, but. This is a time where now he's on a 4-fight win streak. He's on a roll. This is a chance for Moicano to really step out of the shell, step himself into a spotlight to where in a division where there's not many new contenders in right now, right? We're kind of like recycling um, challengers as we are, right? Because we all think maybe the Bronx might be next soon, or eventually maybe the name's always going to come up, Poirier, Gaethje, something, So we need something new, and I'm not saying Moicano is that fresh breath of life, right? I don't know if I'd pay a pay-per-view price money to see Moicano challenge for the title, but this is something that the UFC needs, is something that Moicano himself needs. So. But no, I do think Beneil Dariush does get the win here. He does shake off the cobwebs from those 2 losses to the Bronx and to the number 1 contender, Tsarukyan. But I don't know. You're right. Here's the thing with Moicano, guys, and this is what I believe is going to happen. He's going to gas himself out. He's going to just try to wail and try to go for a Hail Mary shot when Beneil Dariush is slowly doing his game plan to pick them apart, whether it's on the feet, whether it's on the ground, whether it's on the cage. Eventually, Moicano, he's a happy chipper guy that just can't wait to start swinging and hope for the best. And then if Dariush can avoid all the dangerous shots, all those Hail Marys, bam, one shot, TKO victory can lead to Dariush's way, or even a submission late in the game. But I will be giving this fight to Beneil Dariush.
How do you think Beneil wins?
Let's say for the shits and giggles, Milton, let's say 3rd round TKO.
Okay, what did I put down? I got Beneil winning by decision. I have a decision. Hanato is tough. I think Beneil will be a little bit more skittish, and he'll play his part well. But again, he has the power. So when Hanato gets a little too aggressive, I don't think he'll one-punch knockout, but I think he will get a couple knockdowns on Hanato.
So let me throw this out there for people who may not know about Renato Moicano. When he fights a top 10 fighter, top 10 fighter, which is all his losses in the UFC, by the way. Let me name them out for you. Brian Ortega, submission. Jose Aldo, TKO. Korean Zombie, TKO. Rafael Fiziev, knockout. Rafael Dos Anjos, decision. So most of the time in his losses, it's because he starts getting play happy and he gets finished. So that's why I'm betting on that most likely happening with Beneil Dariush, that style of victory for him rather than just a decision. And I also think a finish is more important because he is coming off 2 finishes himself. He's getting finished, as to say.
Yes.
In Dariush. And what a statement to get your name into a title shot would be by finishing your opponent. Like I said, this division is starving for fresh competition, Milton. There are guys slowly coming up there, but when are they going to get that opportunity? And what's really standing in their way? Because you'll always have those BMF gatekeepers, Gaethje, Dustin, Bronx. Max Holloway might come up to lightweight now that he's lost all his featherweight title opportunities. So we need a fresh matchup. And so Dariush, you get a finish. You might be in conversations for a title fight just off of 1 win because of your history already. So get the job done. Finish this guy. You might get a title shot October 2025.
Nice. Very good. Before we move on, I'll play devil's advocate real quick because I, like everybody in the world, love Money Moicano. I just love him. I don't wish anything bad on him because I think he's good for the sport. He's good on the mic. He's good on social media. He's good everywhere. He's just a very charismatic, creative, easy to like guy. I will say this. In the matchup with Benoit Saint Denis, nobody gave Hanato a chance. Benoit Saint Denis, same thing with Beneil. He was coming off of a loss. He hits hard, and he also has a very great grappling pedigree. and also a southpaw, just like Beneil. So I'll say this: if Benil's his beautiful body kick, if he starts utilizing that, we can watch the same thing we saw to Benoit Saint Denis. I hope not, because I'm betting on Dariush. But if he utilizes his body kick, which is beautiful, he can get it caught, and Money Moicano's on top, elbowing a guy that's chin is in question right now. So I will say that could happen.
You're right. He definitely needed the break, so maybe we'll see what happens. But anything can happen. It's basically one of those, and this is one of the beautiful things about this card, ladies and gentlemen. This main card is that there really is a chance for any of these fighters to win. It's not just like, oh, hey, this guy's style, let's make it, 80-20. Let's make it, yada. No, give me in the range of from 50-50 to 55-45. It's that close. They're not that far apart. I know that we're going to talk about a title fight that maybe some people feel like it's far apart. I don't think so. But we'll get to that in time being. Milton, if you're ready, let's talk about the polarizing fight. Let's talk about the children of Potan, Alex Pereira. Let's talk about Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Don't tell me I'm wrong. These are his children. Yes, These are his boys getting into the ring, about to fight and say, Daddy, please give us another title shot. Please give us one more. Nah! Not if you win. You need more than just one win to get back to Daddy.
I agree.
So, anyways.
In Jamal Hill's case, it would at least be okay. Like, it would make he got beat one. I know, I'm with you. I don't think a win on either one of these sides deserve a title rematch, but Yuri absolutely makes no sense. Nobody wants to see that again. Nobody wants to see. Third time's a charm. No. Now, with the Yuri and Jamal Hill, tell me how you break this fight down as far as Alex Pereira's children. Both of these guys do have strengths. Both of these guys are, on paper, did not lose their belt, so they have that in common as well. They have a lot of things in common, huh?
But they lost to the champion. Okay. That's all that matters.
No, they're fighting each other. That's what matters.
Yeah, they're fighting each other.
You have an agenda.
Because they lost to the champion.
Right on.
Milton, tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
All right, then.
But how do you break down this fight? You tell me on how you think this fight transpires, what winners. Tell me. Talk to me.
Look, man, this is a statement for both fighters, right? Basically, you're telling me that if you win, you're going to be on your way to impossible title shot. If you lose, please step out of the way for everyone else. Enjoy PFL if you need to. I don't care. You're not going to be coming back to the title shot anytime soon if you lose. No, it's the truth. Think about it. If Yuri Prochazka loses, because we know, like you said, nobody's really looking for Pereira Yuri 3.
No.
But let's say Pereira moves up in weight class or loses the title. Mm-hmm. Then Yuri needs to be in the conversation. He needs to win to get himself in title conversation again. If he loses, he's Dominic Reyes. He's on that trajectory. That he's on the way down. Like, that's how bad. You can't lose this fight, essentially, for either fighters. This is a must win.
Okay.
It's dead on. And so what I see in the case, how I see it transpiring is that, look, Yuri is going to come be the aggressor, in my opinion. I think he's going to come in as more the aggressor because, one, he's already been finished by Alex twice. Mm-hmm. And two, this is the kind of guy he is. He's a samurai. He's a fighting samurai. Yeah. He wants to come in and make a statement. Jamal Hill, he wants to be that counter striker. He wants to show, hey, I am good enough to face Alex Pereira. And what y'all got was what he calls a fluke, whatever, with the Herb Dean shit and all that stuff. Okay, cool. But he wants, I bet you one thing. I bet you Jamal Hill's going to try to use the left hook to try to win this fight. I bet you he's going to try to pretend to be Potan in the cage.
That's a good
And he's going to try to find a shot to hit freaking Yuri with the left hand. Mm-hmm. And when it doesn't knock out Yuri right away, he's going to be like, all right, well, now I'm just going to go back to how I used to be.
Right.
But I think knowing Jamal Hill's characteristic.
Arrogance.
Yeah, his arrogance. He will look to finish off Yuri. Obviously it was the left head kick, right? That did the finishing job. But what is the signature finish for Alex? It's a left hook. Mm-hmm. So I think Jamal Hill's going to be looking for that all fight. I'm calling you right now.
Okay. Well, I find it interesting that not really interesting. Yuri's a slight underdog. I get it, just because he's been knocked out twice. He almost was knocked out against Alexander Rakic as well. So, like you said, he typically is a guy that will come forward, but I think initially he is a bit he reacts. He reacts off of what his opponents do. And sometimes it's not good reactions, and sometimes he's just there to be hit. I agree, but I think both of these guys are there to be hit. People have a false confidence in Jamal Hill defense because of the Glover fight. Glover's not a striker. He was like 40 freaking 5 years old.
Hey man, when he's got his old ADP card out there, okay, you guys, he was already done. He was over. Like whatever happened. But come on, guys, it's get your head out of your ass about Jamal Hill. He wasn't that guy in that Glover. No. The fact that Glover almost really won that fight too is just that tells you everything.
At a point. But with both of them, their defense isn't that great. Jamal, yes, he hits hard, but so does Yuri. Yuri, if his chin is gone because of Poatan, then Jamal Hill, everybody, is going to knock this guy out in the first round. Now, if what I believe, Yuri's chin is not gone, Poatan at light heavyweight is just, if you have no defense, you're going to lose. I think Yuri will get hurt, like he always does, and he will weather the storm. I will concur with your thought on the left hook. Even though Jamal Hill's a southpaw, I could see him doing it just because he's arrogant, and he could get away with it because Yuri is going to be right in front of him, egging him on, doing like this, is that all you got kind of thing. If he doesn't knock him out, Yuri in the second and third round will take over. If Jamal can't one punch knock him out like a guy in Poatan, Yuri's shown that he can weather any kind of storm and finish you. And I'll pick Yuri's conditioning over Jamal's.
Mental, you know how much I dislike Jamal Hill. I have not kept it a secret.
I think he does it on purpose now. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to be Juliana Pena and talk his way into a title fight. That's literally all it is. It's literally just that.
Right.
And look, fair game. If it gets the attention of Dana and the rest of the UFC officials that make the fights, go for it. I mean, you do you, boo boo. I mean, I have a nagging feeling, bro, that Jamal Hill's gonna win this fight. I don't like the feeling.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I do think, sadly, as much as Yidi is posting beautiful pictures of where he trains at, the waterfalls, all that stuff, it's cool. The Zen is
what a picture.
It's great. It's amazing. The truth is that he's continuously fought, since the first knockout with Poatan, and yes, he gave himself these last 7 months to really rest up. I don't know if it's enough. It's 2 knockouts at the time, in short time. I think less than a year, really, between each other. Let me look it up real quick.
And to your point, actually, you could even add some because he got knocked out twice, basically, in that same fight, in the last fight with Poatan. Remember, at the end of the first round,
the buzzer saved him.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'll give you that. Go ahead.
So I do think that all that damage, and you said like his fight with Rakic, it was not easy. He let himself eat some shots that put him in danger. I think Jamal Hill gets to win. I don't like it. I'm not saying it's gonna be a knockout or TKO. You know what? I will. I'll say TKO finish. I'll say second round because I worry for Yidi's safety that he did not take the time off serious enough. Now maybe the UFC was like, "Hey man, we really need this fight, and look, this is a former champion. This will get you right into a title shot." Those little notes that maybe put him in his head that said, "Okay, I'll do it." Jamal Hill did take basically the rest of the year off after he got knocked out. He's taken 9 months off since the last one, and really, other than the uppercut and some ground and pound damage, it wasn't as much damage as what in about 6 months range or 7 months range than what Yidi Prochazka took in his 3 fights.
Yep.
The 2 with Poatan and Rakic. So give me Jamal Hill. He's the fresher fighter, in my opinion. And I think that's what we're going to see more likely happen, Milton.
Okay. Well, like you said earlier, and I'm glad you premised and had a caveat with it. All of these cards all the fights on the main card are legitimately 55-45 or
Mm-hmm.
52-48. Like you can't really get a 60-40 on any of them. I mean,
No.
some people think I think that about the fights we're about to talk about. I don't. I actually don't. They are all very, very close matchups, very stylistically very close matchups. And with this one, I do have Yuri TKOing Jamal Hill in the third round. But I 100% don't think you're an idiot because no, Yuri could definitely get knocked out.
Anything, there's a fight that anything could happen.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, wherever, if you want to stay away from a fight, this is probably one of those fights you want to stay away from betting on because, I mean, you'll make some money. Don't get me wrong, you could make some money, but this is probably a fight I would stay away from. To be honest with you, betting odds wise.
What I used to tell a couple people that would ask me for their advice on their gambling addictions, I say stay away from women's MMA, light heavyweights, and heavyweights. Don't do it unless you got a shout out on the preliminary card, a Jalton Almeida or a John Jones, a premier grappler in a heavy division. Go for it on them, but just striking, no, they hit too hard. Just anything could happen. They're grown, no. But yes, agree. Go ahead.
All right, so Milton, we're going into now some title fights.
Here we go.
Ding ding. We have the first title fight. It is the UFC Bantamweight Championship. It is Merab Dvalishvili.
Act like you're in a mountain. You got your shirt off. It's snowing. Okay, that's.
I'm not trying to mock the
like an Indian. I don't know what's
going
on.
No, I was just trying to get my tongue like
loosey
goosey for that.
Right on. But, for the next couple guys, yeah.
He's defending his title versus Umar Nurmagomedov.
Father's plan.
Ooh,
sorry. Good.
But it's gonna be a fantastic title fight. It is Merab's first title defense. You know what they say, Milton. You're not really a champion until you successfully defend your title at least once. And so for Merab, I know that a lot is at stake for him, pride-wise as well. Merab is out here trying to validate that a championship win wasn't just a fluke, but one that he's always been this guy, always been one of those top fighters that people just didn't know about or ignored just because he was Aljamain's friend and he didn't want to challenge his friend for the title. He could have been champion a long time ago if we really wanted to talk about it, but that's not the circumstances that we're at right now. We are now at where he's his first title defense, and it's against Umar Nurmagomedov, a dangerous fighter, not even a wrestler-born fighter. He's striker first, wrestling second, which is crazy to think about when you think about the Nurmagomedov name, because that is not what they're known for. But in this situation, it is. And that is what's probably a little more dangerous for Merab, because while Sean O'Malley had all the striking abilities to probably hurt and damage and finish Merab, this guy, Umar, has the total package. Correct. But that's not to underestimate Merab, ladies and gentlemen. He is a great fighter, all-around fighter, arguably better than his teammate Aljamain Sterling, which is why he was able to beat Sean O'Malley in the manner that he did. But this is a toss-up. This is a fight where we don't know what's going to happen. Milton, share your thoughts.
Well, brother, let me talk to you in my third language, and that's Nurmagomedov. All right.
I was gonna say Dagestani.
And I'm just kidding. I don't know. I used to have it was a cheap one, so eventually I'm gonna get one of the real ones, the Caprica, the thing that, and I'm gonna start wearing it too. But just give me some time.
We know we live in Texas, right? It's usually like 105 degrees.
Well, I'm not gonna wear it out and about. I don't know.
I don't know, man. So you might. I don't know.
No. I will wear it when we talk about the future and new bantamweight champion and Umar Nurmagomedov. Him going against Merab, don't get me wrong. The betting line, the one that I saw, plus 250 for Merab, is disrespectful to Merab. I do think it's closer than that. I don't think they're giving the champ his due. Merab is known, as everyone knows, for his nonstop wrestling, his cardio, his pace. He does, and it's not even just that. He does mix it very well. He's not a good striker, but just like Habib, all he's trying to do is get close to you. He can throw a bunch of volume at you. You think you're safe, or man, he doesn't know what he's doing, and then now his hands are locked and you're on the mat. So that's Merab's game plan. But like you said, Umar Nurmagomedov ain't no Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. That's cute. Umar Nurmagomedov has been grappling with his cousins, bears, since they were young. Like you said, his first martial art wasn't wrestling. They've been wrestling, but it was Taekwondo. He has a Taekwondo bounce on his toes style, comparable to Islam or a Habib. Him and his brother, as the Bellator champ, Usman Nurmagomedov, have that same Taekwondo style, which I understand why Merab was so heated in getting this fight. Because one, he's beaten so many good guys. Honestly, his resume is fantastic. And we'll talk about something in a little bit. But his first title defense going against a guy in Umar Nurmagomedov, his toughest matchup in the entire division as a first fight, I get it. But guess what? Doesn't matter. Father's plan is correct. And Umar Nurmagomedov will be and new. And not just that, he will be the reigning champion for years to come until he wants to give it up. Nobody in that division other than Merab and Corey Sandhagen, which he already beat, thankfully. Those were his toughest matchups, in my opinion. Watching years of Umar. And if he gets past Merab and he becomes champion, other than Piotr Yan, there is no matchup that's even worth talking about.
Give props to Corey Sandhagen because he stepped to a fight that really he didn't need.
He didn't need to. Yep.
He didn't need to. He gave up his title shot basically at that point. Chito Vera robbed freaking Sandhagen of his title shot. So it happened. It's whatever. This is what Dana does. The UFC does really.
Yeah.
I love the confidence. I love what you're saying. Umar he's in that camp. He's like you said, father's plan. What is he completes the Mount Rushmore of that camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Khabib's Islam has it, Usman has it, Khabib's had it. So now it would be his time if he can complete it. And there's just something about Merab that tells me. And still.
All right.
And you know what it is? It might be just the fact that Umar, as much as the training, as much as everything that's been around him, he's a young prophet. He's a young kid that's supposed to. He's the to-be all champion.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I get the sense of feeling that this is like young GSP? Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't understand what I mean by that, GSP was on the rise. GSP was on a movement when he started his MMA UFC run. And when he got to the title fight, when he got Matt Hughes, the veteran Matt Hughes, who had already fought so many legends, fought so many guys at that time, compared to young GSP.
That's a good point.
Matt Hughes was able to teach GSP a lesson and not only just finish. And it took some time for GSP to finally go up the mountain again, climb back up, and get the title, and obviously become the welterweight GOAT that we all know and love.
Right. That's good.
And I get the feeling, even though Umar's only got that one big recognizable fight, it was also just a decision. I'm not saying that to knock him or anything like that, but Merab, his sword is very sharpened. He has fought legends in his winning streak. He has fought former champions, and I don't think he's ready to let that go just yet. And I think that while we are looking at the future with Umar, I think the second fight is probably when he takes that title. And so, but for tonight, for this Saturday night, give me Merab and still.
I'm glad we're opposed. This is good. This is good TV here. But let me give an analogy, and I'm not promoting bullying anybody. But you know that one, I didn't even get to go.
Spoiler alert.
There's a kid in the corner, right? And oh man, he keeps He keeps winning this. He keeps winning this. Talk about decision. Merab's a decision machine. That's why he's a machine. It's because it's decision machine. But he's getting all of this. He's getting all of this. And then there's that one kid that's just stronger, better at everything. He's like better, just better overall at everything else. And then he just goes over there and takes his candy. And then he bucks at the guy and he says, "What are you gonna do?" And Merab is gonna say, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. What am I gonna do? Take you down? Am I gonna keep you there? No, I can't. Oh, then when I get up, what are you gonna do? I don't know. I can't submit you, but Umar could submit Merab. I can't knock you out, but Umar could knock Merab out. So I gotta push back just because father's plan. All right, father's plan. I have an agenda here. Okay.
Clearly. But Milton,
Good.
What happens when a bully meets a cocky ass bully? What happens when the bully is bullied? And then see, this is where it's funny because, as you say, Umar, I could knock you out. I could submit you. I could also say, has he fought a level of talent as Merab? No disrespect to Sandhagen.
Corey's better than Merab.
Yeah, in your opinion,
right on.
But the factual paper so far says Merab has been the guy, right? He's a guy that beat up Jose Aldo. He's a guy who beat up Peter Yan. He's a guy that basically retired Henry Cejudo.
I object on the Aldo.
I don't care.
Let's be real. Aldo. He did not. He didn't do anything. He had a bunch of failed takedowns. He had cage control. He didn't throw. I don't think he had 20 significant strikes. And the judges gave it to him because Jose was saying, "I'm not going to let him take me down." But go ahead, keep going. Everything else was correct. Go ahead.
And he also finished the guy that robbed Jose Aldo of a win, and that's Marlon Moraes, a guy who was, I guess, falling real quick at the time, but still,
but he was rising.
He was rising at one point. Like, woo!
Yeah.
But like I said, iron sharpens iron. Merab's fought a lot of top guys before, former champions on his resume.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so that's where I'm gonna go. As of right now, it's Merab's time. And then later on, give it maybe a year and a half, when Umar's got himself more fights. Maybe if Umar loses, maybe then people will want to fight him, right? Because that's also another shtick about Umar. Nobody wanted to fight Umar because they knew what was gonna happen. Mm-hmm. But maybe if he loses, maybe there's a game plan out there. Maybe they're like, oh, I could do that. I could do that too. So we'll see. So
I'm not mad at it. Again, I think the odds makers are definitely disrespecting Merab. I'm kind of being funny because I've been saying Umar is going to be champion.
Got you, Merab. I got you, bro.
Yeah, that's good. And now tell me this: Merab's going to win by decision. Don't you get too spicy?
Oh no, I don't have to. No, I don't think he'll do that. Let's say 5th round submission. Am I gonna pay?
He's gonna stub Umar. Come on, he hasn't stubbed anybody. He's not a submission threat.
Doesn't matter. Let's have a fun. What are you doing?
Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. I mean, okay, first of all, you want to see a 5-round decision? Hell no. I want to see some finishes in these cards. Okay, so that's why I'm predicting everything being a finish.
Right on. Way. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah. Remember, sometimes we got some cards where it's nothing but decisions, and I don't want that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm looking for the upside, Milton. And I'm saying, look, here's another thing about Umar that doesn't have, and I get it. He's got the training camp that he's in. I know what he's been raised in. Does he know? Does he know to really get to the championship rounds like that? Does he?
Does that? Really he went. What the knock that you had on him was the 5 rounds, but he went 5 rounds with a dangerous guy in Corey Sandhagen, a guy that's much bigger than him. He had the length advantage. He had, quote unquote, the striking advantage, even though he got outstruck by Umar. 5 rounds. Now, 5 rounds of wrestling.
Yeah, that's
a good point there. That's good.
That's what I mean. Like, Merab's one of those. Like, here's one of the things that we could talk about. UFC Noche. Even though at the late round, the last round he got hit in the ribs and he started slowing down a little bit. And I'm not saying Umar can't catch him there. He was still pretty fresh going into that 5th round. And I'm just saying, if you keep up that wrestling, if you keep up that pressure the whole time with Umar, if you're able to hang in there, I'm just saying, by the time the 5th round comes around, he could really be looking at an exhausted Umar.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's for sure.
Of course.
But
I agree. And again, if you had to say what is Merab better, what does Merab have over Umar? I agree, and I concede competition and also cardio. I think Umar's cardio is fine, but Merab's cardio is wrestling cardio. 5 rounds of wrestling cardio is totally different than if Umar's on his back foot all 5 rounds. That's going to be different. And the path to victory for Merab is for that to happen. To have Umar doing his stance, switching stance, but he's going backwards. Whenever people are watching this fight, if you see Umar controlling the middle, if Umar is going forward, if he is lateral moving, Merab is going to have a very, very long day. Now, if Merab's the one going forward and he's chasing Umar, 1, he could get caught, but 2, Umar is the one getting tired.
Wait a minute, Merab is he gonna be going zigzagging all around cages?
Yeah, he might. That's where you might get that, but we'll see. I got Umar winning TKO 5th round.
See what you mean here. You're asking me for a decision.
Right
You're asking me to give Merab a decision. That's the only way to do it. Now, see, we want finishes. We're gonna get submission 5th round here for Merab.
All right, let's go. And
all right.
Anytime, I don't know if the camera gets this, but this is what I think of Jose's take. All right.
Wow, I don't got a really.
I know, right?
I don't got a PG rebuttal, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Woo.
Where did you get that?
I found it for me at the pool guy, right?
All right. Main event. Right.
Let's go. Main event.
It's time.
The lightweight title fight is here, ladies and gentlemen. It is the champion Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan 2 rematch. Whoo, Milton, we are here because Islam. I know you follow this plan, right?
Yeah.
I got you. You want to tattoo that somewhere? You want to get that tattoo?
No.
Follow this plan, hey. But Islam here is going to give out what would be his 4th title defense.
Yes, sir.
Versus a former opponent of his. This could be legacy basing, ladies and gentlemen, for Islam with a successful title defense. But it could also be legacy changing if Arman could come out and destroy all of Father's Plan in one night. Can you imagine, Milton, with Father's Plan having the 4 champions in the camp?
Come on.
And then you go and lose, and now you're down to just 1?
That'll be rough.
And very rough. Very rough indeed.
That'll be rough. Abdul-Amab, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, we got a beautiful fight here. And this is the tricky part, Milton, because I will agree with you in this, and I think a lot of people will agree with it too. Islam is the better man, right? He's had the also harder trials, right? He's had Volkanovski. He's had the grit of Poirier. And he is going into a fight with a guy that's familiar with him that you could honestly say could almost match his pace, right? When it comes to grappling.
Yes.
And when you take that away from it, I'm not saying Islam's a kickboxing chump or anything like that.
But he's definitely
but when you neutralize that, and now you're the one that's on the fence for wrestling takedowns and everything, it makes you wonder, because one of the things too, Milton, that was very impressive with the first Volk fight, right? It wasn't just that, how much Volk fought, how hard he hits and how he knocked down Islam and everything and kept him down that last round.
Mm-hmm.
It's that and even with Poirier, it's that they never had that quit in them.
Right.
And they pushed the pace and to basically push Islam to his limit. If Arman can keep that same pace in his own way and then neutralize a finish or even just a decision at that point, because that it's going to be a Hail Mary possibly. And we've seen Islam get knocked out or finished before, so it's not like it's impossible. Mm-hmm. But if he can do something like that, oh man, we're going to have a long night, Mr. Makhachev.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Just a spoiler alert, guys. I don't know if you know who Islam Makhachev is on the feet, but let's talk about it. He's a guy that, sure, Alex Volkanovski had a great fifth round. He knocked down Islam. Oh man, it's so great. I remember that Islam also knocked down Volk in that fight, the same fight. Oh, he's a featherweight. That doesn't mean anything. You can't use it against him if you want him to fight him, pound for pound, right? And Dustin Poirier, when they were striking, I remember, my memory could serve me incorrect, but I remember Islam beating Dustin Poirier on the feet. Now, people can say that it's because of the wrestling threat, and that's fair. That's fair enough. But I just remember when they were exchanging, Islam looked damn good. And if Tsarukyan, this is a big what if and a hypothetical, but if Tsarukyan was in that same path in Dustin Poirier, and Dustin Poirier was stopping the takedowns, and Tsarukyan had to stand with Dustin Poirier, anybody that's watched Tsarukyan strike, he's good, but I don't think that would go well for him. I truly don't think that would go well. Hypothetical, it's not a fair assessment, but I'll say this: if the grappling is neutralized between both of them, which it damn well could be, I concede to you on that. Striking wise, I don't think it's that close. I do not. Yes, Sarukyan's a better quote unquote athlete for sure. I mean, you saw the axe kick against Oliveira, right? I don't think Islam gonna throw that. So fair enough. But when it comes to straight ones, twos, threes, Islam is very, 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 very good. Underrated. I don't think he could be underrated anymore after what he did to Dustin. But I'll say this and I'll give it to you. If the grappling is neutralized, I'm much more confident in Islam. And if Tsarukyan does get any kind of offensive grappling going, I think he will tire out much quicker than Islam would, because Islam is much more battle tested than Tsarukyan. But go ahead if you got something for me.
I got you. And see, I know how much you're with Father's Plan, because I feel like you didn't give enough of a great context of the striking capability with the wrestling. So hear me out, ladies and gentlemen. If you have the time, and I would take the time, I would go back and watch that Islam Volk 1 fight. I would watch that Islam Poirier fight, because what Milton did slightly forget to say was that when he caught those gentlemen, this was after grueling minutes of controlling them on the ground or on the cage. This was where they were not just worried about getting taken down. This is them exhausted. They were getting worn down methodically by Islam. Where did he get that from? Because Father's Plan. Because Khabib did that as well. This is how that Khabib had that beautiful freaking shot on Conor McGregor. And everyone was like, oh my God, how did he do it? Conor was tired. Yeah, Conor was exhausted at that point. He was basically batted around. You want some? You want to talk now? You want to talk now? So what Milton, you kind of forgot not to give context, is that when those things happen, those fighters were heavily exhausted. But we also remember with those two fighters is that they came back and they made it into a fight, and they made it into a real competition, because they went for the Hail Marys. They gave it their best, and obviously both lost. But they were right there. They were so close. It was so close with Vogue where people were saying, "We want more. We want more."
And you got it.
Short term more. Exactly. It was short term. It happened. And Vogue admits it, that he probably shouldn't have done it, but that's just not who he is in his nature. So, but Armin maybe has a good shot if you trust. And look, I'm not trying to discredit Islam's kickboxing or striking abilities at all in any way. It's just that now that advantage of his opponent being worn down by the grappling may not be there this time around. So this is what makes the fight even more intriguing to me, Milton.
Oh, 100%. Well, intriguing it is. So I'm not going to fight you on that. Now, you're right on the context. That's 100% accurate. And I hope I didn't mislead anybody. I hope everybody I'm talking to, watched the fights and can understand that's what happened. But also on that same path, Tsarukyan is not the striker as Dustin Poirier. He's not the striker as Alex Volkanovski. He's nothing close to them two. So sure, I'll grant you, I will concede that yes, it was working out because they were a bit more tired because it's MMA and he mixed all his martial arts against them. He's gonna still do the same thing against Tsarukyan. Like people can say, oh well, because whenever I'm saying, oh, if the grappling's neutralized, I don't think it's going to be neutralized, but I'm saying if. I think, yes, the first fight, I'm not really taking much out of that because one, it was short notice. Tsarukyan, it was his UFC debut.
And 6 years ago.
Yeah, of course. So, but a lot of people are bringing that up and they're using that to say Tsarukyan took him down. If you look at the context, like we love to do over here, shout out to this guy. What this? Am I pointing at you? This guy over here. He was 1 for 12, 1 for 12 in takedowns, and then Islam took him down 4 times. And story is again short notice, 6 years ago, UFC debut, and Islam was sick going into the fight. This is for again, who really cares? It was a long time ago. It doesn't really have any relevance right now, but. I say that to say this with this fight, pre-COVID. When it comes to Islam's grappling, one, I think he will oblige by staying on the feet. I think Tsarukyan will be the one exerting more energy to try to take him down. And when that doesn't work, I think Islam will return the favor, and I think Islam's takedowns will come easier than Armin's. Also, the cage control, I don't think it's close. Islam is much better with cage control than Oliveira, than Armin Tsarukyan, than any of the grapplers that's in the lightweight division. So I just truly think, even though, yes, you raise a great point in context that, yes, he mixed all the martial arts, they were tired. And so when you're standing with him, he's tired too, but he's fresh. He has good combinations and you have something to worry about and you're tired. I think the same thing can happen in this fight. Which is why I'm confident in Islam and still, but by decision. I think Tsarukyan, I give Tsarukyan respect. I think he's easily the second or third best. I would love to see a rematch between him and Oliveira because Oliveira on the feet did absolutely nothing. It's like, oh, you want to throw all the bells and whistles at Islam, but you don't want to do anything against this guy? You just letting him take you down?
Oliveira was in that weird position where it just felt like it's like, why am I even doing this? Right? That's what it kind of felt like. Like
it looked like on the feet, right? He did.
Yeah, like he was just lost. Like he was just like, do I really want to do this? And then I mean, like honestly, like it was like honestly when the judges came out and it was a split decision, I was like, I don't hate the decision, but at the same time, I'm like, I could have been okay with a draw. I mean, I don't know.
It was born, but I mean, even the split, it blew my mind because I didn't see Oliveira got some submissions going. That doesn't win you a fight when you're losing on the feet and you're losing the wrestling exchanges, but you throw, like you said, a Hail Mary. But anyways, I would like to see that fight again, and I think that fight's in the works if, of course, let me be respectful, if Islam gets the job done. But I do have Islam winning by decision.
I'll be honest with you. If Islam gets the job done, I think freaking Charles is next. May not be liked by everybody. Like I said, sometimes in these desperate divisions, one win's enough. And I think Oliveira, because being a former champion, and if you recall, he did have a title fight scheduled, and then things happened where it just got, changed up, and that's why Volk got the second fight. UFC might be like, hey, we'll do you a favor because you always fight for us. You've been a great champion, even though we stripped you the title for missing weight for like 0.5.
That was kind of crazy.
It didn't matter.
Wild. That was a little wild. I agree. That was a little wild.
And then what he did to Gaethje, and I was just like,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, Gaethje absolutely sucks, everybody. All you Gaethje fans, he sucks. Everybody that was saying Gaethje, I'm sorry. They kept saying Gaethje should fight Islam. I'm like, yo, what are we talking about here? I don't get it. Well, you saw what Oliveira did to him. You saw what Habib did to him. What do we need to see? I don't get it. Just mix those two guys together. You get a guy like Islam. What do we do?
I told you there's just like a love triangle, like blocking the freaking title fights right now.
We need more new up-and-comers. And unfortunately, in the lightweight division, unless Dan Hooker, which he could definitely beat Justin Gaethje. But if Dan Hooker fights Armin Tsarukyan, Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev, we already saw what Islam does to him. That's not going to work. I'm
Shoot.
not. Go ahead.
Shoot. I mean, it might be like Dan Hooker. You got Beneil Dariush next. And
I
that's
don't.
questionable.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
that's a good one though. That's a very that's it depends on how Beneil if he beats
I mean,
Hanato.
if
How
he beats Gaethje, who's ranked number 3 right now, they're not going to give him Beneil because Beneil's beneath him right now in
right,
ranking.
right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
I fingers crossed Rafael Fiziev comes back with a vengeance because he was the fun one to watch.
I
He had
know.
decent grappling defense. His kickboxing was fantastic. It was fun. I hope he comes back because he could have been that light, that energy boost that the lightweight division needs. Otherwise, yeah, it's dead. Max Holloway, I don't see whatever. We'll see about Max.
I'm surprised Max is still ranked number 5.
Yeah, good for him. He should stay at lightweight. Featherweight has nothing for him. You
Yeah.
can't beat the 2 top guys. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
You leave it alone, dude. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this though. Well, one, give your predictions. Give your predictions. Sorry.
Oh yeah. I forgot I didn't do it. Yeah, and still Islam Makhachev still retains. I do think it's gonna be maybe let's say I don't want to play decision. I hate that. Let's play with 3rd round submission.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this: if he subs Armin, look, this ties right into what we're going to talk about. Islam wins this fight. Islam wins this fight. This is going to break the record on the most title defenses by a lightweight champion
in the UFC.
In the UFC, excuse me, you're right. Does this make Islam Makhachev the 155-pound GOAT in your eyes? People that's watching, I see that there's no comments. Please, you have input. Go ahead, Joe.
And I'm not gonna just bury them or anything like that if they don't comment because maybe they're just maybe they're like me right now. I don't know, Milton. Because here's the thing, we're gonna always have a discussion about it, right? Like, for example, we can talk about how Stipe Miocic has the most title defenses for a heavyweight. Are we really calling him the heavyweight GOAT? I don't call him the heavyweight GOAT. I know there's people that call him that. I don't call him that. Why?
Who is? I'm interested.
It's not John Jones. Don't worry. It's not John Jones. So it's not there yet. It's
like Kane.
I think so.
So are you more infatuated with Prime? Because it just depends on your criteria.
Yeah, he was already 40 Stipe when he won back the title from DC and then got those. I mean, even so, his title defenses was before the DC, and then honestly, bro, if I'll be honest with y'all, if DC should have won, they shouldn't have been a trilogy. DC should have won that second fight. He was winning that second fight easily. And then he got knocked out, and then the 3rd fight he just wasn't himself and retired. And yada. I'll be honest with you, DC was the better fighter in my opinion, but the records will never show that. I'm just saying about what I saw, and so that's kind of the thing too. That's why it's hard for me to believe what Stipe. Cain Velasquez was one of them ones at the time, and it just and so the discussion right now would be because there's let me ask you, who is your UFC 155 Mount Rushmore? If you had to make one right now,
I would say it's going to be Islam, Habib, BJ Penn, and probably Oliveira.
Okay, you like Oliveira there? Okay.
Yeah, just his dominant run. Again, because everybody just always
short. To be fair, it
was short, but it was dominant, and his rise to become the champion. I mean, he was on an 8-9 fight win streak, so I put that in account for sure. But I would say that if I had to take Oliveira out, it might be Frankie Edgar, but I'd rather have Oliveira there.
Yeah, I get the feeling. Frankie was doing those fights he had with what's his name? The draw fight, the trilogy.
He had Benson Henderson. He fought him a couple times.
Yeah, those were the losses.
Frankie.
But who was it? It was
It
was a trilogy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry that we're ranking right now, but it was a trilogy.
I can't think of his name.
I'll pull it up right now. But Gray Maynard. Oh my God,
wrestler.
Ladies and gentlemen, go watch UFC 125. Holy, probably one of my top 5 fights ever watched. No, I mean, I guess it's just tough because here's the thing. If let's say we had the argument of it's Islam or Habib, right?
Mm-hmm.
Habib never lost the title. He relinquished it. And obviously, at the pace that he was going, he probably could have done more had he not kept the vows that he kept about his father's passing. Didn't want to keep on fighting.
Right.
He could still be champion to this day with Habib. I mean, it's a what if, right? But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I've been impressed with Islam's I guess it depends how this fight goes. I don't know if I've been impressed with his title run as I've been impressed with other people's title runs.
Really? Okay. So,
Here, let me show you. Let me tell you why. So obviously he won the title off of a vacancy with Oliveira, and it was
dominant.
It was one sided. It was not even questioned. And then, look, me and you will agree that Islam won the first fight with Volk. That's not even a question. Yeah. But the fact is, it's out there. People think it was 50-50. Right. So, like, they could have said, oh, Volk was robbed or whatever. Like, that's always going to be a narrative out there. And then, obviously, the Volk second time, short notice. Really short notice. I think it was like 8 days or whatever it was.
Oh, very, very, yeah.
Yeah, it was very short. And then following that, it was Poirier, and we know what Poirier was, and no one had belief in Poirier. So I guess for me, it's just the level of competition, and I guess where people's narratives at, because I don't know, man. Because if we're just going by title defenses, then sure, it's Islam. But if we're going by like what we feel like as far as reigns, like I don't know, man. It's still questionable. Like, to be honest with you.
So let's say he beats Arman and then he defends it again. Will that be definitely be like less questionable?
Yeah, it becomes less, right? The more that he legacy builds and everything like that.
Who do you put as the GOAT? Like Habib? If you don't put it, it has to be. Like, are you gonna put BJ Penn?
I mean, I could.
No.
Why not?
No way. Over Habib?
I could. And BJ Penn's run?
That's cool. Against who?
Okay, I mean, at the time they were names. I mean, I get it now.
No, right? No, so even at the time,
so wait, hold on. But this is the issue, Milton, because you're gonna discredit Kenny Florian, you're gonna discredit Diego Sanchez. But here's the thing, too.
Yeah, for sure.
10 years from now, 15 years from now, after all that, people are gonna discredit Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje at the same level, and they are, because what weren't they? They were never UFC champions, which is what these guys weren't, except for Sean Shirk. That's the only other the champion that BJ went. Right. But I'm telling you, Milton, the way you're dismissing the way he beat up Florian and Diego Sanchez is the way people will dismiss in the future how Islam beat Volk. Or I mean, I guess Volk's, the double champ. But
I was gonna say now, but yeah, I understand. So
yeah, let me all that.
Let me
and even Khabib's the title defenses, which was more prime Dustin, more prime Gaethje. Who else did he beat to? Oh, and Conor. And Conor, we know what post Money Mayweather Conor was. He wasn't the same ever again. So I'm telling you, the way you're dismissing him right now is the way people will dismiss Islam and Khabib.
So, one, that's my bad. I didn't mean to dismiss the competition that he beat. What my main gripe with having BJ Penn over Habib, let's leave Islam out of it right now, is how he lost it and then how his career went after. Like, the brother lost maybe 7 in a row.
Okay, but that's not the question. The question was, who is the lightweight champion GOAT? It's not lightweight GOAT, because if it's a lightweight GOAT, that's a whole different aspect that we have to open up from different brands.
No, but that was my question. If Islam wins, is he the 155 GOAT?
It can't be, because his resume still doesn't even compare to Habib if we're just going by full resume.
Okay.
Because Habib did, even though it was title run short, he still went undefeated.
What he did. I get you.
Yeah.
I think if he beats Arman, but in dominant fashion, and let's say it ends like a finish like you're predicting, I think it is more 51-49, whoever you pick. And if he gets another defense, I don't think it's a question, just because he's the more well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's not as dominant as a grappler, but again, on the feet, he's a nightmare comparable to Habib, which is no knock on Habib, because Habib didn't need it.
I like the only reason I don't use like like for example, I'm pretty sure you may agree or disagree how you feel about it. The reason I still have high respect for Anderson Silva is for the title run. Post title run, we know that most title runs for a lot of people end badly. That's when their peak is done. That's when their career is done all the way.
Right.
And so when you bring up BJ Penn's post lightweight title run, for me it's like right. But if you look at the title run and leading up to the title run, what he did,
Right.
that branches out because we would say that that's peak BJ Penn.
Yeah. So
Like if Islam, let's say he loses this fight or he wins, then loses the next fight, and then he goes on a downward spiral, then how can he be the GOAT?
right.
So so that's why I'm saying like there's just because I think how you were at your peak is more important than how you were at your downfall because everyone gets older and there's always going to be a new lion. Like as of right now, I'd still say Alexander Volkanovski is the featherweight GOAT because he at his peak, at his title run and everything is still better. Now he's on his downfall because he's obviously losing, but that doesn't take it away what his title is. And
I agree.
So I think that's the struggle where I don't want to take away BJ Penn because BJ Penn, this motherfucker was fighting in the streets for no fucking reason, getting knocked out.
Yeah.
So it's just not a fair comparison.
That's why he fell off like that. I would.
Yeah.
I get you, and it seems that's why. Like if we were having a debate, I would always try to define terms because your defining term is basically prime. Your prime speaks more about your career than your overall career, which I'm not opposed to. I get it, but I put in all of it. Like if you wait too long to say I'm done, that's on you. You could say, "Oh, I'm older in age and all of that," but it's still on you. You're messing up your career. Now, prime, that's prime. That's a different GOAT list. That's a different Mount Rushmore. I can see.
But that's the discussion, Milton, because when people are gonna bring up in the discussions in the future, let's say, well, what if we had prime Tito Ortiz versus prime Daniel Cormier, right? They're not, or they're gonna say peak for peak. No one ever talks about full length career or worst DC versus worst Tito Ortiz. When people are talking about, oh, what a dream fight would have been, they talk about peak for peak, and so that's why for me, when we talk about division GOATs, it's like whose peak was better overall, whose title runs, whose peaks and all that, because that's what made you who you are today. And that's why like the downfalls, I get it. You know, if you keep on fighting and you want to make yourself a 20-loss fighter and whatever it is, we don't know your financial situation. We don't know why you keep going and all this stuff. But if I know peak for peak, where I remember peak BJ Penn versus peak Matt Hughes, who was a better fighter at the time, then so be it. Do I think peak BJ Penn can compete with the guys today? No. More athletes are evolving their styles, overall. But overall, man, it's just so tough because I don't know if how impressed I've been with Islam's title run compared to other lightweight title fighters.
Right. So that's the last part I'm not going to argue because again, peak wise, there's been more dominance shown before, except other than Islam. So I agree with that point, but that's why, again, if we had the conversation on Mount Rushmore or anything, we would have to define terms because you think GOAT is more prime. I think it's overall body of work. If we talk about football, we're not going to talk about this player's prime only. That's when we'll say, oh, well, that's how I would question. Oh, well, what was who had the best prime? That would be a separate question I would ask. In my opinion, the greatest of all time is the complete body of work. And it has to do with championships and their run, et cetera, et cetera. But also it comes down to before they were a title holder, which is good for most of the great Mount Rushmore greatest of all time. But also when they go towards the end of their career, how did that?
My dispute with that is that you brought up a team sport versus an individual sport.
No. I mean, like quarterback. That's what
I get what you're saying, but in the end, Tom Brady's still relying on 10 other guys on the field.
Right.
And then another 11 on the opposite side to do the job. Because that's our GOAT, right? Tom Brady's our GOAT, as far as quarterback. But when you guys got guys like this who are just stepping into a cage where it's just
Right.
you and another individual,
That's fair.
you're not relying on anyone else. Nobody holds your hand once you're in there. Hands are flying, kicks are flying. You're getting choked out. Your limbs are tearing.
Yeah.
So it's just a different aspect because, look, man, we can always have questions. We can always put asterisks on everything like that. But for me, it's also like who had the most best runs, who had the best peak for peak. That's what I'm saying. Like BJ Penn, man, like
he's there.
If you don't
put him over Habib, that's all. He's there.
I
He's
mean,
right there.
I get it. If you don't want to put him on, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But what we're discussing is Islam,
right.
And that's the thing too. Like that's why, like with Islam, I don't know if I've been impressed with his reign compared to I was impressed with BJ Penn's reign. So that's where things are. And guys, if you're a new fan or if you're an older fan and maybe haven't seen it in a while, go check out those title defenses by BJ Penn. Go check out him versus Kenny Florian.
Yeah.
Go look, check out Diego Sanchez. Those BJ Penn was a dog. I mean,
yeah, come on.
So,
I agree.
If you like your Hawaiian and Max Holloway, you will love your Hawaiian and BJ Penn.
100. The originator.
Yeah.
Blood on his gloves, licking them suckers, and nasty. Probably has a couple diseases after that. I don't know, but I wish the best for him. But this will be a really good Mount Rushmores of certain divisions. That would be a really good conversation. Of course, we'd have to define terms, but that would be good. Be very good. Oh, one last question I had when it came to Merab. If Merab wins, he beats a Nurmagomedov. He takes that O away from him, which again, odds are saying the odds don't think that's that possible. It's not. It's not probable. Let me say that. Will he, even though this is only first defense, but the bodies that he's beaten, will this put him in competition of one of the greatest of all time in the bantamweight division? Because remember, Aljamain Sterling didn't have to do much for them to consider him one of the greatest of all time. Mainly because of Merab's competition, I agree, is he has a lot of names on his W list. If he beats a guy in Umar Nurmagomedov, does that put him in the conversation?
It's a short conversation. That's
right,
I think that's what it is. It's because I respect what Aljamain did.
For sure.
What people don't understand, I think what people want to like kick on Aljamain when he's down right now, because he did lose his last fight, but it's in a different weight class.
Yeah.
Is that no one gave him a shot against Peter Yan, and then Peter Yan made the dumbest move in MMA history by kneeing a downed opponent, and then because he was beating him badly in that fight,
Yan was probably going to finish him. He's probably going to finish him.
Yeah. Yan was kicking his butt.
Yeah.
And the way that Aljamain Sterling responded in the rematch by, carrying him around the cage, dropping him with grappling and just controlling him, making him his, what.
Mm-hmm.
It was so impressive to watch. And of course, then he has the fight with TJ Dillashaw where his shoulders popping in and out, every freaking time he hits the mat. Beats up Henry Cejudo after Cejudo retired, talk all his mess, come back, gets a title shot, and then freaking loses. And I get it, maybe those two guys were past their prime when he got those two guys. But I was really impressed with Aljamain Sterling's reign. Now, to me, the guy that's probably still the bantamweight GOAT, I mean, Merab, like I said, it's a short list, you can get himself up there. It's probably still Dominic Cruz.
Yeah.
Dominic
Cruz or TJ Dillashaw, but TJ Dillashaw got the PEDs. But if anybody out there has Anderson Silva, don't start talking about TJ Dillashaw then, because both of them got the same PED.
I mean, but I could knock down TJ Dillashaw because when Dominic Cruz came back after his long layoff, he beat up TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah. I'm just saying he's in the conversation. I agree. I think Dominic Cruz.
He took the title off him, and it was a lineal title. It wasn't like vacant or anything like that. He took the title off him, and I think that because if people don't remember, Dominic Cruz was champion going into UFC from the WEC.
Correct.
So it was more like it was just transition. So if you really want to talk about it, his WEC title reign into his first UFC title reign is the whole picture.
Correct.
That's the real truth. And the UFC might not have it in their record books like that, but after they merged, that is actually the truth, because I don't even think he needed to win or defend the title immediately when they merged, right? I think
Oh,
he defended it like one of the last WEC pay-per-view cards, and then they handed him the UFC title, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right. You're right.
So I would say Dominic Cruz is still number 1 there.
All right.
And then Aljamain would probably be 2, and then the conversation for 3 could be TJ and maybe Merab, if Merab can do this. But also at the same time, Milton, like I mentioned with you before, if Merab beats Umar, then people are going to see Umar in a different light than you see him right now. Because you see the potential what, Father's plan is with Umar. Mm-hmm. But if he loses, not everyone's going to see that. Everyone's going to have doubts. But I have the plan I have the thought process that Merab could win this fight via Matt Hughes GSP1, and then later on when they have a rematch, he loses that fight.
I get you.
So it depends where people will see standing wise Umar, and that's where it will catapult Merab if they see him that big or not. After all,
right.
Because let's say if he beats him in the first round, surprisingly, then no one's gonna give freaking Umar that credit. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
So
okay, but yeah, I was just wondering because, like you said, with the 135 being considered the greatest of all time, it's not going to take that much. A couple defenses. Good stretch of wins because Piotr was on his way, in my opinion. Piotr was on his way to becoming the bantamweight GOAT, and then he just screwed it up going against Aljo and Merab. But yeah, I digress. Very good.
If you want to count all his title fights, Dominic Cruz has a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 bantamweight title fight victories.
Right on.
So if you really for me, that's if you got an argument, you got to argue Dominic Cruz, ladies and gentlemen.
Amen. Yeah, that's brilliantly put. People forget about the WEC days. They just think UFC. It's like, well, they transitioned, and he didn't lose the belt or anything.
Seven title fights
for you, dude. That is such a good argument for Dominic Cruz because I've been saying I think Dominic Cruz is the greatest. When Aljamain Sterling became in the conversation, I said I get it. But I don't think so.
Go
ahead.
Okay. It's still Dominic Cruz. Number 2, we forget this. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That's my fault. I am an MMA guy.
Don't say it.
Demetrius Johnson in 1. Their flyweight is 135.
Right.
So he is 2. He's 2 if we're talking about 135. I would say he was a better champion in 1 that we've seen compared to the other UFC champions post Dominic Cruz.
Well, yes. Well, he defended it like twice.
Hey, we just said it doesn't take that much, right? That was the words. Don't you change on me now.
No, but I'm just saying. Well, I'm not mad at it because I don't want to put Aljo in the top 3 anyway. So
okay, I'm just saying if you knock him down 1 peg for
that is funny. That is funny. Yeah. Well, let's talk about someday we'll have the conversation of our Mount Rushmore of GOATs, and I think we would probably have the same, at least 3 or 4. I think that. Well,
you're gonna knock a few because of the PED stuff. So I mean, I think it will be a little different in certain areas.
Oh yeah, see, even with the PED, I have both. I have one with the PEDs, and I have my opinionated one because if you have PEDs in your system, you can't be on the greatest of all time. But some people don't care about it. Hey, whatever. Free for all. Let's do it.
So I'm just throwing out there. Mighty Mouse 2 for 135. 2.
Okay, well that's fair. That's you can make a good argument.
He's 1 for 125 and 2 for 135. Just saying.
That's Mount Rushmore right there material. Drop the mic.
That's why I got DJ. That's why I got Mighty Mouse up there, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what I'm talking about. But this was good, dude. This was very good. Chad was watching. Chad, next time you are invited, dude. Just come on time.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever want to discuss MMA with us, go ahead. Send a message. We'll send you a link. Don't worry about it. I got y'all. We got this. It don't matter if you're new, if you're a veteran, expertise, whatever. We got you. Let's have fun discussions because guess what? I bet you half the shit I just said the last 30 minutes, you didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah,
we learned something today.
We nerded out a little bit. Send me location. That's all you have to do. Just send me location.
Cody.
All right. Hey, Cody's been throwing shots. This is his week of just throwing a bunch of shots at everybody. All right.
The
Whatever.
Texans win one game. All of a sudden,
He's feeling good. Nah, I respect it. I remember how that used to feel, dude. But I feel old because it's like I remember the good days. But I think better days are coming. You agree?
I hope so. I hope so. Well,
Right.
hey man, I'm not here to gloat until we start getting back into the playoff contention. I started in the group chat for Pats fans out there, for people who know what we're talking about. Until we beat Miami, which we haven't done in years.
That's good.
That's when we're back in it.
That's a good point too. Very good point. Because we used to always at least get one. Sometimes it would be tough, but we would get at least one. At least one.
All right, but those talks are for Wednesdays and Tuesdays.
Right.
If you want to catch up with Little Peaches Sports, catch up with us every Tuesday night. If you want to catch up with the People's Debate with Milton, catch them on Wednesday nights. We got it, ladies and gentlemen. We got you covered. You know, we get basically going to give you about 3 to 5 hours of football talk. Our co-host might be angry with us by the end of it, but then we'll give it to you nonetheless.
Oh man, I felt bad. I felt bad this last week. I saw the time. I said, dang, it's getting good. All right, well, that's that. But
ladies and gentlemen, hey Milton, I don't know how we're gonna do it. Maybe we can link up and watch the fights together. Or hey, I'm just saying, TikTok's about to die. I'm just saying, if we do end up watching the fights at our own homes, respectively, let's link up on TikTok and have a watch along.
Let's do it. Either way,
the main card.
Yeah, I'm down for it. I'll see what's happening, and one of those two will do. Two will do.
TikTok might be out of the way, guys, but you can follow Milton and the People's Debate at their local channels, YouTube. You can follow Milton on Instagram, get any updates you need. Follow me. You can follow at Little Peaches Sports on all social medias, except for Twitter, X. That is Pinches Sports Pod. Guys, for Milton Win, I am Jose Garza. We are the hosts of Bell to Bell. Ding, ding.